Hey, hi everyone, this is Abhishek, and in this video I'll be talking about how to write better unit tests. You will say, what is a better unit test? So there are some principles or performance improvements you can do in your unit test. So save your time, and it will definitely save of your CI time or your local environment wherever you are running. So do check it out and tell me in the comments if it really works for you or not. And okay, so let's stop this and just watch the tutorial. So firstly, we will talk about import directly. Suppose you are using Jest. So how Jest runs your test file? Suppose you have around 50 test files in your code base and around 100 files or 200 files exporting functions, components, and whatever variables. So you have all these files, and you have package JSON, I mean node modules exporting all of your dependencies. So what happens is, in case of Webpack, it tree-shakes your code base and uses only, like, it creates a bundle of all the functions or the variables you are using. But in case of Jest, what happens is, Jest don't have tree-shaking ability. It was not designed that way. So what happens is, when you run your test, so you have around 50 test files. It will create a module registry. So if you have a lot of exports, and I will talk about one important thing, barrel export. We all have these kind of exports. So what we are doing is, we are exporting our functions and components from one file. Then we are creating an index.js file in the root folder of that component, and then exporting all those components or functions. Then we are using it like this. So what happens is, Jest will create registry for for these components also, and this barrel file also. So it will end up creating a lot of registry, like it will be a big registry, and it will take a lot of time to search for all the imports. So first thing is, avoid barrel imports. Directly import it like this. So directly import your foo component, and from like this, it will save around 10% of your time, definitely 10 to 15%. So the first point is, I will just write avoid barrel imports. Let's talk about mocks. So you must have API calls, and API calls, database. Okay, so in front end we only have API calls. We don't do database connection in HTML. So let's talk about API calls. So as we have another backend and front end. So for the API calls, the backend teams already have their own unit tests. Then why do you want to test in your front end? So leave your backend API for the backend folks, and write your tests without APIs calling. It will, suppose API call takes around 500 to 600 milliseconds. Just avoid it. Just mock your API calls and mock your data and use directly. And it was about mocking API calls, and also mock your components. Suppose you are using something like, you must be aware with Material UI, as we all are. So all these button and stack, what we end up doing is, we import button. Why do you want to import it? Because Material UI have already they have already written their own unit test. Then why do you want to test it? Why do you want to import Material UI? Just mock these button, and just mock this path and this button, and just place a simple div or something, or button, and then test your component. You don't need to import from Material UI, because it will be searching in the module registry, and then finding the button. So unless it is not important, don't use these, like don't do imports, just mock your components. So the second thing will be avoid API calls and mock unnecessary components. Okay, sorry, I see, yeah, there is a spelling mistake, so let's just leave it. We are only talking about tests only. So let's go to good code design. So what is a code design? So you must have heard about this flux, flux concept. Redux flux is very most famous. So just read about. I will just put the link in the description. Read about this. So this is state management art. Better codability. So follow better code guidelines. Follow good paths on how to write better codes, and read these kind of blogs. So what they have written is they have separated their code base into entities, all these things. So just read it out. And for like, why I'm talking about this, because you don't need to write unit tests for all of your code. You just need to write unit test for the code user will be using, and it is mission critical, or it has some functionality. So you don't need to write for your UT for every of your code. So just read about this, and just get a understanding of how to design your code base, and you will also understand which part of your code needs UT. So read blogs and all architecture kind of blogs, you will understand. I will put the link in the description. And okay, so one of the most important things, separate external dependencies. I have seen a lot of projects. I have seen some companies using components, like they have written components in their own code base, like their product code base. So what happens is you have around 200 components in your code base, in your product code base. And okay, so you have around 200 components in your code base. So you have written unit tests for all those components. So suppose if you write, so yeah, okay, you have written suppose you have something kind of material UI on your own. You have all these type of, not all these, you have suppose components of different kind. So what happens is you should separate this out. You make an external repo, or mono repo kind of thing, and just separate it out, because you can write unit tests for this component, these components also. So when you are running your tests, it will only test the core functionality of your product. If you have some external dependencies, write tests for those files in other repo, and it will save a lot of your time and everyone's time. So it is always better to separate your dependencies to other repos and all. Okay, so 6.1 JS DOM. So if you are using Create React App, it defaults to they have set up that they use JS DOM for testing. So you can do some some configuration tweaks to tweak the performance. So one of them is you can set test environment to Node in like this okay, so you can set it like this in your configuration, and it will have some it is only for writing non JS. Suppose if your functions are not using JS DOM, then you can write this, then it will save a lot of your time. And the seventh one is if you are using Jest on if your code base is using Jest for testing and your devs are using Windows operating system, then move from Jest or move from Windows, because it is really slow. So either you can move to Linux or Mac, or otherwise you can move your Jest code base to Mocha. It is preferred because like you can read some blogs, you will understand why they are slow. And so let me know, like, if any of these helped you in saving your time or your company's time. It means a lot to me. And thanks everyone for watching this video till the end, and bye bye.